Yo, what's up? Welcome to Numbers with Ace Jakari. I'm your host, Ace Jakari, but you already know, call me Ace. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the beauty of taking your time, because I feel like in this very high-paced society, and it's very quick, move, go, people forget to slow the fuck down. I'm one of them. People is me. I am people. Most definitely, I'm a part of the problem. Not necessarily in telling you to speed up, but indulging in the speeding up. It's I feel like people forget that some things, and also good things, do take time. So we're going to talk about that, and make sure you follow on Instagram and TikTok at Numbers with Ace Jakari. And share this and tag this. Share this on your platforms and tag me in it, and also share it with your friends, because it's obviously, if you, I'll say obviously, but if you're struggling with taking your time, your friends might also be struggling to take their time. So this is a gentle yell at you to be slow down. Where are you rushing to? Where you trying to get to is not going to leave you behind. You're going to get there. The train that you think you're supposed to be on, that you rushing to get on, may not actually be the train you're supposed to be on. So we're going to talk about this. So I definitely struggle with taking my time. And I think that comes from just who I am as a person. I'm very bubbly, very exciting, in regards to I'm very excitable. I can get very happy very quickly and very easily. It doesn't take me a lot to be oh my God, please tell me more. Very invested. And I think that for me, one of the biggest things that happens is when I start to rush it's because I have a new idea. I see something and I'm oh my God, I have to do this. And go really quickly of just there's an impulsivity, there's a recklessness there. And that's highlighted in a couple of numbers, actually. That's highlighted in 1, 3, and 9 off top is where I would mainly put that energy. One is that awareness of a thing. And I think that this definitely shows up very prominently for me. One is that, that new idea, that new concept, that beginning, that start, and it gives you that push. One is also ruled by the sun. So think of it being very bright. It's illuminating everything. It's very powerful. It's very potent. And in all of that sun energy, you can get blindsided sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. Some things can, catch you off guard. Some things can come out of nowhere because it's not a number or an energy that is really selective. It's not saying that it's not detailed, but it sees this concept and it just takes that and goes. It doesn't necessarily sit back and fine tune a little bit. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that all the time. I feel like there's definitely space for, just going for it instead of being so focused on the perfectionist side of it, which is also something that one highlights is perfectionism. So it's honestly funny that I even said that, but I think that there's that, go for it. Let's get it done. Let's get it going. Let's get it rolling. That one can highlight. And there's also a potentiality that 1 and 3 both highlight of anything can happen. There's a potentiality and a possibility that this can be good. This can also be bad. This can go this way, but it can also go this way. And I think that sometimes in not taking your time, you go the way that you don't always want to go. And a lot of things sometimes can just be fixed when you just slow down. And I think that with society being so focused on, forward movement and progression and going, a lot of things and a lot of just concepts and ideas can get left behind because good things do in fact take time. It's I think one of the favorite things that I learned at some point is that for example, the producer, Timbaland, there is some very iconic song that obviously he did, but the song, he had made the track for the song 2 years before the artist who actually ended up who actually used that track, used that song, and then that song didn't even come out until 3 years later. 5 years, and I can't think of the song off the top of my head, but 5 years. And that song is now making millions. It's breaking records and shit. And it's not a new song. It's a song that came out a while ago. But the fact that is a thing of, there's this quick idea. Let's go it. Let's make it. And I also want to say that Timbaland is a psychic one, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's born on the 10th But also don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that he's a psychic 1, which just means he's born on the 1st, 10th, 19th, or 28th. But in that 1 energy, new ideas are just like a consistent thing for him. Of like, he's just, making. It's not necessarily a follow through per se of, okay, I've made it, let me send it somewhere, or let me do something with it, but it's been made. So, hey, if the opportunity presents itself, I can. But it's not always a follow through number. It's just an action number of like a start of a thing, a beginning of a thing. But it doesn't always mean that there's the sustainability of it, because I think that in quick movement, you're also likely to burn out very, very regularly. And that could be avoided if people took their time, because I also think that what gets looked over so many times is boundaries and needs. And also the authenticity of those things. And authenticity is very much highlighted in the number 1, and needs are highlighted in the numbers 2 and 6 per se. And boundaries is heavily prominent in the number 8, and 2 and 8 also reflect each other. And reflections just mean 2 numbers that are sitting on the same vibration, and highlight similar energies, but on just like different sides of it. So whereas 8 embodies boundaries, 2 can struggle with boundaries. So with that being the case, I think when you embody that quick moving energy of 1 per se, and it's authentic to an extent of like, okay, yes, I do have an idea. It's not denying that you have an idea. But when you get to a point where you're tired and you keep pushing, you're not honoring the authenticity of the feeling of being tired. Like there's truth in that. There's honesty in that. It's like, no, I'm tired. I would like to stop now, but you're not stopping. And I think that in not stopping, that can kind of mess some things up sometimes. I think that in this fast-paced society, there's not always space for rest. There's not always space for taking time off to just decompress. There's not always space to just live. I know this is more of an American society type thing. And I'm aware, I'm aware of the fact that, other societies aren't as harsh in regards to that work-life balance, or lack thereof, rather. But when you actually sit down to really take your time and be truthful with yourself that you need a break, I think that that's really when certain things can come together in the best ways. Because doing things out of desperation doesn't always work out. And there was a comedian, I'm so sorry, I don't remember nobody's name, but there was somebody who said that her mentor or somebody that she looked up to said that as soon as you get out of desperation, you'll get where you want to go. You'll get where you want to be. As soon as you step out of that desperation, you'll get there. And that's something that I even see for myself. I see the fact that instead of not fighting my body, instead of being like, okay, I'm tired, let me take a nap, or I'm tired, let me take a break, or my brain is just doing a lot right now, I can't even think straight, let me, step away from this and come back. In honoring that, I get so much farther than trying to just push through because society is ingraining me to do so. It's like, it's taught me time and time again that if you don't work hard, you won't get somewhere. But in that hard work, oh my gosh, and this reminds me of something my mom used to say all the time, and she had a whole little song for it and everything, of work, play, work, play. Of just like, you're working, but you're also getting that a play time in there sometimes. And this is something that she did when I was a kid and stuff like that. But that's something that definitely still resonates today, because I think that when you get so caught up in that work and that grind and that hustle, and it's very common that people are saying nowadays, get on your Zoom. And yeah, sometimes people do not be on your Zoom, or on their Zoom, but when you're on your Zoom, sometimes you need to stop and go to the bathroom, or sometimes you need some water. And that is that decompression. That is that rest. That is that, just getting back together so you can continue with whatever the task is. And it doesn't mean that you got to stop for, 6 months or something, but being able to, honor your body's needs. And this doesn't mean to step away from the discomfort of doing something that's scary. This doesn't mean to ignore your anxieties or your fears. It's just like, no, push through those most definitely, but also listen when it's really loud. Listen when it's yelling so loud that you're over here being overstimulated and, shutting down to a point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Listen to that. Trust that, believe yourself when yourself says, yeah, no, bro, nope, I don't want to do this. But sometimes what is better for you is past that and through that, I don't want to do this. And it's like, and I think that those things can be discovered in taking your time. And those are things that come from deep conversations and vulnerability, themes that 8 highlights as well. I think that 8 gets such a interesting rap, and its rap that it gets is very fitting for the fact that it's the number 8. 8 is ruled by Saturn in Chaldean and Vedic numerology, and I want to say Pluto in Pythagorean, but don't quote me to Pythagorean. But in that awareness that Saturn, that 8 is ruled by those energies, there's not only a magneticism, but there's also complexity. There's a mystery. There's a depth. There's a vulnerability. There's also an abundance. There's definitely abundance there, but it doesn't come without the boundaries that 8 requires. It doesn't come without the work that 8 requires. It doesn't come without the discipline that 8 requires. And in those spaces of, consistency, not even consistency, but well, yes, in a sense, consistency, but discipline, hard work, there's the reflection between 2 and 8 that highlights that depth and that vulnerability, but 2 also highlights balance. And the fact that 2 and 8 reflect each other, of sitting on that same vibration, 8 embodies a sense of balance as well. So, and there's also a genuineness that 2 highlights as well, that 8 also can look at and be like, I see what you're doing there. Yes, I like this. But it's just like 8 has such a rough rap of, oh yeah, I'm gonna just beat on you because I can, or I only am all good things, in regards to abundance, because it has that view and that status. It doesn't, I think that a lot of times people get lost in that sauce of wisdom or abundance and just take that at face value. But when you look at all the other 8 themes, or the other themes of 8, you really see that patience, that discipline, that taking just taking your time to figure out the little pieces, because in figuring out those little pieces, the details are clear. And you are putting together a little bit more of the picture than you realize you're putting together, because long-standing and in the long term, which also are things that 8 highlights, you're not going to have to circle back. You're not going to have to spin back and figure out, where did I mess up? Where did I go wrong? Because there's a hole here, but I don't remember there being a hole here because I was go. So I didn't really see it. I was moving too fast to even peep what was going on, but yet here we are. Like I thought we were cool. I thought we were in the clear, but we weren't, because in moving so quickly, you can lose sight of a lot of things. And I think that, yeah, that's cool. It's cool to move quick in some spaces. Of sometimes quick movement is needed, but also being able to find that balance between knowing when to go and knowing when to slow down is a power within itself, is a blessing within itself, of when you know when you need to move and when you know when you need to sit still. That's, yeah, you in your bag with that one. You in your bag with that. Because people really sleep on that, I feel like, of taking your time. And I'm not saying to sit there and do nothing. I'm saying just allow things to move at the pace that they want to move. Because it's like, you might have a great idea today, but the details and the things that really make it incredible and out of this world don't come for a couple weeks, a couple days, a couple months even. It's like, yeah, sure, it sucks in concept, especially because of the tolerance that people lack in regards to things taking time. Of now you can fast forward through shows. You can speed up the TikTok, you can speed up the playback of the podcast episode. So even the time that people spent on making the episode is skewed. It's warped. So your tolerance to waiting for your blessings or waiting for whatever or knowing when to do what is completely skewed. And though, yeah, it's cool to be able to speed up, knowing when to slow down and being able to slow down, that's the sauce right there. That's really the sauce right there. And I feel like it's not spoken about enough that you need that time. You need that downtime. You need that slower movement, because that's when you're really able to pick up on stuff. It's like, yeah, the speedy, we're go. There's times for that. There's times for that. And there's times where that's great. There's times where that's heavily appreciated. There's times where that's really wanted and desired. But there's also times where you want to do the exact opposite and sort of kind of sit down, lay down, read a book, drink some tea, watch a movie, take a nap. Like, those things definitely come in clutch. And don't beat yourself up for doing that. There ain't nothing wrong with you for taking a break. Ain't nothing wrong with you for sitting down. There ain't nothing wrong with you for taking your time. And also, I think that this is, oh my gosh, this is something that I feel like artists, some of them are really good at it and others not so much of, it takes a really long time. And this can be said for musical artists and like also visual artists. For musical artists, it's like to create an album, you creating an album overnight is very unlikely, especially if it's an album of quality and of substance and full of experiences. It's like it's unlikely that you're going one night, 1 hour, 24-hour locked in the studio type thing. We're done. We've made the album. It's like some I will not, and I'm not saying that that's not possible, but some of the greatest work took years. And I don't mean just like, a year. I mean multiple years. I'm talking 2+ years, 3+ years, 4 years. And it's like you have so many artists who have gaps between their albums or who have finished an album and the album's being put out and they're already working on the next one. It's like there's so much complexity there, and that took so much time. So even though the album itself is, an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour and some change, that's not how long it took them to make it. Yeah, sure, you as a listener, you play it front to back, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour and some change, whatever. However long it is, it's like, yeah, you played it and listened to it that quick, but it sure as hell did not take that long. It's also like this whole same concept of Usain Bolt breaking records and stuff like that, of he trained for months to run for less than 10 seconds. For less than 10 seconds, like that concept. And it's like being able to really put that into your mind and process it and sit on it. It's like, dang, wait a minute. 2 months, 4 months, 8 months, years to 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds. And it's like, this is also, I think, why it's very important to build up your tolerance to the concept of time. Because since everything is so quick moving and do it right now and in 30 days or less, or in 3 months, you can be completely different. It's like, yes, these are options, but also how sustainable is this? It's like, there's so much discipline that's required to be great. And not everybody necessarily wants to be great. But if that's something that you see for yourself, yeah, it's a concept of get on your Zoom, but also find a balance and a groove within your personal flow. Because your flow ain't going to be the same as my flow. My flow ain't going to be the same as your cousin's flow. Your cousin's flow ain't going to be the same as your daddy's flow. Like, it's not going to do the same things. And I think in staying true to that and embracing that authenticity of self, whatever that looks like, that's where people win. It's like, it doesn't mean that, say fuck anything or fuck anybody for how they go about what they're going about. It's very much just holding space for the fact that people move different and your timing is not my timing and vice versa. It's like there's people who don't pop off until 50 plus, 70 plus sometimes. There's people who grew up and they was already popping like that. There's people who, mid-20s, teenagers, mid-30s. Like everybody can pop off. If you're looking for that pop off, it's like, okay, you can pop off da-da-da-da-da. But I know for me, it's like if I popped off when I was a teenager, oh my God, I'd be so damn different. So damn different. I would be so, and not in a good way either. And this is also something that Issa Rae had said of if she had popped off when she thought she was gonna pop off and wanted to pop off and was really like, yeah, y'all can't talk to me, I'm about to win, da da da. If she had popped off then, it's like, oh no, it would have been a completely different story. But in popping off later in life, and not super by much, like it wasn't that far off, but in popping off later, it's like she knew how to handle it. And I think that the aesthetic of success is so appealing that people just want that look, but the tolerance to taking your time is very low. So it puts you in a position where you're sort of kind of like, well, yeah, I want this, but it needs to take 3 months. It needs to be done in 30 days. It needs to be done by next week. It's like, what if you have it by next week and then the week after that you don't? Like, did you ever consider that? Like, did you ever peep that that's how that shit could have gone? What if instead you took that 4 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and that shit lasts a lifetime? It's like, yeah, sure, it might suck. It's like the start is the hardest part by far. The start is the hardest part because you're going through all these new things and you figuring it out and you stumbling and you face planting and you just like, oh my God, I'm bruised. What the fuck? Ow. Like, where's the first aid kit when you need it? And it's like, yeah, sure, it might make you want to quit, but there's also power in that pushing through as well. Of really continuing to show up for yourself in whatever ways you feel like you should. And it's like, yeah, it's not always going to be sunshines and rainbows. It's like, I am not somebody who is ever going to sell you or tell you the concept of love and light is all you need to focus on. It's like, no, life comes with highs and lows. Life comes with beauty and ugliness. It's like, there's duality in everything. And I will continue to talk about that because it very much is there. And I think that when you're really able to take your time and see not only what it is that you really want or whatever it is that you're going through and take your seasons as they come and take the present as it is. And also then see, what do you want to do about the present? What can you do about the present? What do you want different in the future from the present? Taking all those things into account and taking your time to figuring out how can I get to wherever I want to get to without leaving so aggressively in a way that is impulsive and reckless. Like, I'm not saying it's like, okay, yeah, don't believe that where you're going is where you're going. No, by far, most definitely believe wherever you see in your head that you want to get to, that you're going to get to. Believe that shit. Hands down. Don't ever stop believing that shit. Whatever you're seeing in your head is in your head because it can happen and it has happened. It's just all about getting to that point. And it doesn't mean that you have to rush to get there either, though. I think that that's the main point of everything I'm saying is, yeah, sure, you're on your journey. You're going wherever you're going. But you do not need to move faster or get there quicker to make it happen. You can take your time. And if it takes you 4 months, it takes you 4 months. But again, I would say, would you rather get it done by next week and it only lasts a week? Or if you got it done in the next couple months, couple years, and it lasts a lifetime? That's all I got to say. That's my bottom line. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for tuning in with me, spending some time with me. You already know what to do. Follow on follow at Numbers of Ishtakari on Instagram and TikTok, and also on YouTube. But I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you take your time because you should. I love you. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.